Well, welcome everybody to a brand new episode of the Litecast right here on CF After Dark. I am Austin Keeney. I'm joined by Matt Nelson, fresh off an Iowa State win over UCF, back on track on the basketball court. We're definitely going to get into that. Matt, how we doing tonight? Did you go to the game?
We took all five of us, all the kids. Keeney, good to see you. Glad to be here. Yeah, 6:00 game means on a school night you can take the kids. So hand up, we were one of those people running out with 4 minutes left. Keeney, is it understandable on a school night to get the kids out of there early?
I was going to ask. We can't really take ours to games because he just won't sit still for more than like a minute. So I'm wondering how yours did.
Boy, first half was tough. I actually dropped them off and then I walked because it's, I don't know, 2 degrees out. So they got to have hot dogs while I was getting back there. Still got in before tip. Once the food and the clone cone was gone, for like 10 minutes of the first half, Keeney, they were just a menace, like bouncing up and down on the seats, kicking the people in front of them, just climbing around. So we kind of forced him to stay seated at after halftime. So they definitely had more fun in the first half when they could run around and expend a little energy. So we're taking her to the Kansas game. We're gonna have to do a little bit of training between now and then because they were a little too energetic. But
so I understand that this is a game that Dad can't miss. It's Kansas at home.
That's right. I told my wife we should come like 30 minutes early for that first one and just have them get the zoomies out. Just go run around an empty row in the upper deck, bounce on the chairs, and then when the game starts, we're focused.
Matt, I also got to ask you about, so over the weekend you made your Cyclone Fanatic debut officially. I didn't get a chance to watch. I was doing solo dad duty on Saturday, so did not get to tune into the post game show. But I got to ask, how'd it go? Saw Matthias got in the car. I think the last time that happened, I think the last time he did that, Matt Campbell left and our whole football team went with him.
Yeah, we talked about butt chugging. I say right as you take a sip of your sparkling water.
That's not Saturday afternoon conversation, Matt. That is
Saturday night conversation.
That's Friday night, Saturday night.
We talked about
the after dark difference.
Yeah, that's correct. We talked about Tide Pods. Remember when kids were eating Tide Pods? Just a crazy time. It was good. Honestly, it was short. Like there wasn't much else to say about that game. And I guess let's kind of jump in there. We've got a game that we won tonight by 30 points. We need to definitely talk about, but the analysis was pretty succinct after the Cincinnati game.
Right? Well, let's hand out our 6-pack and then we'll get into the games last week.
Let's do it. Speaking of 6-pack, Fresca tonight for me. What flavor sparkling water for you?
I got Mandarin Orange. There we go. Mandarin Orange sparkling water. There we go. Matt's freezing up. That is the after dark difference. Lost you for about 10 seconds there, but all right.
I could hear you the whole time. Mandarin Orange. I'll have to get some Kirkland seltzers. Keeney, before we do 6-pack, actually, you know what? I'll start it. I have one to give for a 6-pack. How's that sound?
Yeah, go ahead. Take a lead.
Sam's Club. Okay, hear me out.
I don't know if I can condone this, actually.
I know what we're talking about Kirkland. Keeney, I guess this is probably when I say Sam's Club, I'm in all honesty probably interchangeably using Costco and Sam's Club. We don't go very often. I do have my neighbor's Costco card, which is great, and I know you're not supposed to do that. Shout out Andrew, but we'll go to Sam's if we need like paper towels, toilet paper. The Members Mark thing, Keeney, is dishwasher pods. A box of 105, like a tote, is like $11.
Oh yeah.
My wife bought a bag at Target of 30 for like $8. I'm like, no. Enough of that. Anyway, I went there over the noon hour on Saturday, and I decided to do the old, I'm going to feed my family with Sam's Club today. Keeney, I got 3 all beef hot dog combos and 2 slices of pizza for $9.50. It was incredible. I don't know if I'd had food from Sam's since I was a kid. There was one in Sioux City, and we'd get pretzels a lot when I would go with my mom. But man, I was floored, and the pizza was pretty good. The hot dogs were pretty good. Like my kids were happy. So I know I probably need to become a Costco person, but I'm still floored the fact that I can go to this place and get, I want to say the hot dog large drink combo was like $1.89. $2, something like that. It's just crazy.
See, at Costco, it's like $1.50, so you could even save a little bit more doing the hot dog and drink combo. But
now
yes,
we're talking.
The big box wholesale retailer of your choice there. We're a Costco household, so I cannot condone, not sponsored by Costco, but I cannot condone you.
Could be sponsored.
Cannot condone you bringing up Sam's Club. So just redacted it. Everything that Matt just said, but fair.
Harsh but fair.
All right. Better go with Joshua Jefferson. So obviously on the heels of the ECF game, second triple-double a year, found out he is the first player from Iowa State ever to do that twice in 1 year. Good for him. He's awesome tonight.
Can I ask, have you ever seen a triple-double by the Cyclones in person?
I'd have to look them up, the history of them. I don't think I have.
I want to say, no, Taman Lipsy didn't have one. One of the last ones I remember was Curtis Stinson, right? Back in the early 2000s had one. I want to say it was against Missouri or Colorado. I was at that game as a kid.
I think Taman did have one. Royce White had one in 2012
on the road at Texas. Yeah, on the road at Texas A&M. I remember that one.
Stinson, Colorado, Tinsley.
I was at that Colorado game. Yep. As a wee lad.
I've never seen one in person.
So
but yeah, Jefferson, first one to do it twice in 1 year. And this was West Virginia, 10, 10, and 10. I mean, it's a nice clean stat line. But like tonight, he was the best player on the floor.
Yeah, there's no question. What's wild, if I can be so bold, it was like a sneaky triple-double. Like, remember looking up at like the under 16 in the second half, like, okay, he's got 11 points. I think he was already at 8 or 9 assists, but only had 5 rebounds. I was like, I think he's going to get there. Like, odds are they're going to pull him. And nope, he got it. I don't want to say easily, but pretty easily, right? Ended up with 12 assists. I think his career high.
I think they were going to pull him, and then he grabbed like 2 rebounds on back-to-back possessions.
It was correct.
9, so TJ let him go one more time. So
I love it.
Yeah, it ended up being like 18, 10, and 12. I mean,
I don't
think he had any turnovers either. So that was just an awesome game.
Which we've seen a lot of from him, and we can get into why, in my opinion. But he also, I think he said post-game, he enjoyed getting it on an assist more than a rebound. I think one of those rebounds was kind of cheap, right? It was like just a kind of a putback that was missed. But he was great. He made really good decisions. And he definitely deserves a beer from you. So who else gets one?
I'm going to go with the Miami, Ohio Redhawks. Matt, have you been following along with their basketball season?
Have I ever? It's a great story.
Yeah, 20-0. Won tonight in overtime.
They were down 2 with like 19 seconds left to Kent State. They did win.
They should have lost tonight, but they should have lost last Saturday, and they should have lost tonight, but they pulled it out both times in overtime. I think they shoot like 42% from 3 as a team. They score like crazy. The freest bet in college basketball right now is Miami, Ohio overs. They have I
love that.
Yeah, one of the best offenses legitimately in the sport. And they don't really guard anybody. They just shoot a lot and score a lot of points. Their games are just a ton of fun.
There has been good basketball in the MAC, like Akron, Toledo, even Kent State at times. So it's fun that they're good, because I think outside of Akron, I don't think there's another top 100 KenPom team in that league. But
tell your kids about the 2-bid MAC.
I'm here for it. Okay.
I kind of want to see what happens if Miami goes like 30-0 and then loses the MAC championship game.
Because
are they in? What kind of seed do they get?
People are going to try to say no, but the MAC is not the MEAC or the SWAC. Like, I think there's just better basketball in that league. Akron, like I said, Akron, Toledo, Kent State. Yeah, like Central Michigan, Eastern Michigan, those teams are never good.
Like Drake last year lost, I think, 3 games, and they wouldn't have gotten in. But if you go undefeated all the way to the end and then lose, I think you got to be in. And it'd be a travesty if they weren't. They've
already beaten Akron, and they don't have to go on the road. So they'll probably get knocked off one time, right? But if they finish the regular season with 1 loss, I don't know that the MAC is better than the Valley most years, but it's not nearly as bad as some of these smaller leagues. Not even close.
Well, you're a noted Valley hater, so you can just say the MAC is better than the Valley.
Noted Valley hater. I'm gonna go next. How about the Bateman? We didn't need Batman. We needed Bateman. what a spark from this kid, right? And I think it was very intentional by TJ to, I don't know, how do I say this? Change the rotation in terms of minutes. I mean, we did see Mulder, which was a shock because he hasn't played, but we saw Bateman early and often. He played quite a bit. Keeney, he could have been our leading scorer. I want to say he finished with 12 and he only shot 1 for 5 from deep, which is rare for him, right? He's a 40-ish% shooter. So he had a tremendous game. He had an and one, which we have not seen. He had a back cut that we've seen Nate Heisey do a zillion times, but have not seen from him. He attacked the rim. I was really impressed with him. I don't want to say this like, we thought we don't think he's any good, Keeney, but we just have not seen that type of explosion from him. It's been, he plays 6 or 7 minutes and puts a couple threes in. So I was really, really happy with what we got from him tonight.
Yeah, we're seeing flashes from him. It's been like trying to figure out how the best way. He took longer to get up to speed. Like Killian Torrey came out right away and was awesome, and he's hitting the freshman wall. Bateman almost hit his freshman wall immediately when the game started, and now he's starting to climb over it. So that's a really great bench piece too. This team needs more shooting, let's be honest. And if Bateman's going to be able to hold his own out there, then that's just a huge plus to TJ.
Yeah, I would say this is a nice little boost, in my opinion. And I think the way it's been going, they needed that. So I'll pass it back to you.
All right. One more. I'm just going to say the students. Welcome back to class. Welcome back to Dalton.
We missed you.
In the arena, did it feel different having students there tonight?
It did. It's weird. And I've seen some people complaining about the atmosphere on Twitter. You know who you are. In general, I'm not a big fan of the atmosphere critiquers anyway, Keeney, but it was a weird game. Like Iowa State kind of kept them at arm's length all of the second half and really built a lead up very quickly. I would say it was very loud and spicy up to halftime. And at the you were up 18 at the break, you were up 16 at the first under, you were up 15 at the second under. Like the game was just out of reach. Almost
there was never a moment where it's like, hey, the crowd really needs to step up here, else like we feel like we need to pick up the team. And that didn't happen tonight.
The few times they got it to like 13, the crowd did get into it, right? Like, and gave them some support. I would say one thing I noticed probably more than anything, Keeney, were several times there were standing ovations given to hustle, to shot clock violations, which I want to say they forced like 3 different UCF shot clock violations tonight. The crowd really responded to that. I think Hilton fans, Iowa State fans are pretty smart. They knew that effort was something that has been lacking. Maybe not effort, Keeney, but energy. They definitely played with better energy tonight, and I think the crowd appreciated that. So it was really nice.
I don't know about policing the atmosphere, but like it's never been quite the same since the students got pushed back. I know, Matt, you and I both went to school at about the same time. You felt like you were on the court, and now when you see it, it's obviously they're pushed back and there's a gate in front of them. It's just not the same.
And it wasn't 100% full, but it's not a ranked matchup, and it's Tuesday at 6 p.m. Also, it's like negative degrees outside. So, however, I'd say it was, 85, 90% full, and there was a pretty good atmosphere for most of it. Again, you don't cheer the same way in a 20-point blowout, which the entire second half was, the way you do when it's close, when it's back and forth. So, all right, if I've got one more, I'm going to give it to TJ Altenberger, Keeney. How about that? I feel like we've got this great coach, and we don't talk about him all that much. I don't think we do on this show nearly enough. I noticed some changes, some adjustments, and we did talk about that on the nightcap, the after
the post game.
Yeah, that's right. The post. There you go. I was struggling with my words there. The post game. Brought up by Matthias crapping on Nate Schmidt, which is like a hobby for him. But I noticed some specific things that they did different coaching wise. It's tease, because we'll get into it when we break down this game a little bit further. I want to give him credit for adjusting, for making some changes. We talked about it a little bit with Bateman already. I think they did some different things on defense, some different things on offense even. Losing 2 in a row, facing negativity from your fans online can't be fun for the players, right? To be undefeated and losing at Kansas, no shame, but that was a pretty ugly one on Saturday. So,
let's
You would have really felt like crap, Keeney, if you would have lost this game with everything that you're working towards. So I give him credit.
This was a must win if you want to
no question
compete for a Big 12 regular season championship, compete for a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament.
And then they didn't just win; they blew them out by 30. You do not beat Big 12 a good team by 30.
Yeah, I think they're in the top 40 of the net. It's not going to count as a quad 1 game, but that's a solid team. That's a team that would be in the NCAA tournament if it started today. And KenPom loved it. We jumped up a couple spots in the power ratings, as you would expect.
Team that just beat Kansas on their home floor a few games ago.
Yeah, competed with Arizona. Like that's a solid ball club. And what I think they're pretty good at is scoring the ball. They're pretty good on offense, and they were just completely helpless against us.
Yeah,
so
I would state back up to 7-11, which is a great spot to be.
So do you want to talk about last week then? Should we just get into?
Yeah, let's
just say the obvious. The Kansas loss was defensible, and it should have been expected. I don't know if
shouldn't have been that.
I don't know if
bad,
the Oklahoma City Thunder could go into that arena and beat them in that spot where they were desperate and needing a win to get their season back on track. So maybe we just write that one off. I don't know if you had any thoughts from that you wanted to get into.
No, I agree, and should have maybe been expected. Kansas has found it, and they looked pretty good prior to that game. But I mean, Darren Peterson, when he is on the floor, I think he'd be a second team All NBA this year, dude. He's insane, incredible.
Yeah. By the way, now that you watch Kansas closer, do you want to take back the things you said about them? Not thinking they're very good. Stand on business, Matt. Tell me no. Tell me to shut up.
Not yet. No, I think I still might end up being right. Your overall take, though, that Darren Peterson is an alien is correct. That guy's crazy, man. Like, there's not a shot on the floor he can't make. He's way bigger than he looks. His arms are crazy long. And Kansas had juice for that. Way more. But Keeney, how is Iowa State in that spot going to ever have more juice than a Kansas team? A Kansas team that has been struggling. They know they're struggling. They've got the number 2 team in the country coming to their building. You're never going to out hustle them in that spot. You're never going to out energy them in that spot. That's just a losing proposition.
The only way it could have happened is if you got off to a good start and then you just smell blood in the water and you're like, we never win in this building, but we have a chance to do it now.
But they're going to do
the exact opposite of what happened.
Yes. But they're going to do, even in that situation, they're going to do the 10-0 run and the crowd goes berserk. You make 2 dumb turnovers, they get a few dunks and away you go. And they buried themselves from the jump, Keeney, with 5 or 6 straight turnovers there to start the game. Mm-hmm. And that rally to cut it to whatever it was at half 11, you fix the first 8 minutes of the game and that you're probably up or tied at half, and it just didn't go that way. And then you expend all that energy in the second half. It was the snowball rolled downhill. That's what happens in that building. And in hindsight, we maybe should have expected a loss. We talked about that, right? A game that they were favored, a game that on paper you can win, but reality is a totally different thing. And walking into that building is nasty for anybody who goes in.
Well, I mean, look at what Kansas did in their next game. They beat Baylor by 30 at home. Like, we're better than Baylor, but they took it out on another opponent in that building. They're starting to get it on track.
They're starting to get hot.
He's playing consistently, and he is so good with the ball in his
hands. He's playing, right? More than 20 minutes a game, like we saw early in the season. He is clearly getting healthier. And
like, the thing with Kansas is Peterson's going to be great, but Dunga is going to be good. And then if they have 2 other guys making shots, they're going to be really, really hard to beat. And they have that against us.
Yeah, and some of those guys are not good 3-point shooters, right? We talked about that on this spot. Maybe I was the kiss of death on that, right? But some of those guys who made threes were horrible shooters going into that game, right? So give them credit. And I actually think, Keeney, Cincinnati was a continuation of the same. We did not play well. This team can win when they don't play well. It's very clear. Cincinnati had a lot of juice. They were a team with a little momentum. Hadn't won a ranked game in 8 years? You're going on the road again. More than anything, they should have played with better energy. But Cincinnati's
game too. You know where they rank in the net right now?
No.
They're 69th in the net right now. So that's a quad 1 loss.
It's a quad 1 loss on the road.
They just snuck into the top 70, so right now it's a Q1 loss.
with the
Their
way that
metrics
data
are fine.
aims,
They're top 60 in Ken Palm. They're not bad. Their record's bad, and they're not well coached, but they're not a bad team. They got a lot of talent on that team.
Wes Miller is basically a war criminal when it comes to offense.
He's Cancun. He's on the first flight to Cancun.
He's a lame duck unless they make the tournament. He could Brad Burnell his way into getting the job for another year, but as of right now, it doesn't look great. But one thing I noticed in that game, so the Kansas game, right? You had people make shots early on, guys who don't normally make threes. What happened against Cincinnati Keeney? The same thing. Some random dude hits 3 of them in the first 10 minutes. I would say like their shooting normalized out. Keeney, we shot better than they did from the floor, from 3, from the foul line, I believe.
The helps when Momcilovic is just nuclear, but nobody else on the team can do anything.
No, the alarming thing with that game, Keeney, was they had like 30 more shot attempts than we did, which is almost impossible to do. I'm being serious, right? It's almost impressive. And a lot of it was offensive rebounds. They would have possessions where they get a board and they would get 4 different shots. And maybe they would miss. Maybe eventually they would make it. And it was just sheer number of shots. They shot poorly from 3, but they took like 32 attempts, Keeney. It was insane. So that was a similar loss in that they didn't play great, but it was really more offensive rebounding. And then down the stretch, was it Data Ames and Jizzle James, Keeney? We were making them take pull up 15-footers from 2, and they hit him. They hit like 3 straight when you're trying to climb back in that game after you got it to 6 or whatever it was. So like, give them credit. Those are Keeney on every one of those shots. I told my wife, I was like, that's a fine shot. Data Ames is pulling up from 15 feet. Go ahead, shoot the 2. Yeah. And they made him. The other thing I saw that was concerning, and Kansas did this a little bit, but they knew the double team was coming and had played it perfectly. They executed some skip passes to the corners that we just don't see teams make ever successfully. Baba Miller, especially, like there were a few passes he made. I'm like, how on earth did he get that ball through there? And they either made open threes in the corner or they got drives off of it. So as much as I just pooped on Wes Miller, like they had a pretty good game plan. And also Keeney, I just didn't like our energy, our hustle. Like Blake Buchanan was invisible, no rebound, but hardly any rebounds. Really nobody wanted to rebound in that game. And that is how they beat Baylor. We scored the same amount of points on the road at Baylor and won that game because we rebounded. And Buchanan had a great game, played it, contributed some good minutes, and we just didn't get that on the road, and that's what cost you. So
that, and then we lost the turnover battle. We turned the ball over more than we forced them, and that was the thing. I mean, look, every podcast, everybody that's broken down Iowa State the last week has talked about how we gave the ball up more than we took it away, and if you're not taking the ball away, then TJ's defense is really neutralized, and our team ceiling just isn't as high.
And defensively, I think that effort again, effort sounds cliche, right? Every fan, every podcaster says they're not playing hard enough.
Like, why don't they play harder?
Why don't they just play harder, right? I think it shows up in the turnover stats, right? And I give Cincinnati credit. They did handle the ball well, right? Like they had some guards that could dribble. But the turnovers went way down. And I think that's a lot of times it's an effort stat. And what did we see tonight? We talked about the effort was better. They forced 17 Cincinnati turnovers. Taman Lipsey had 5 steals, which is just an insane number for somebody to have in a basketball.
He was back in his bag tonight, and then Jefferson had 4 steals himself. Like,
right,
it's just
and some of them led
to form,
led to runouts, led to transition buckets. Let's hit the stats on this a little bit, and then I want to cover kind of some broad pictures. I want to hear who stood out to you. I'll start. To me, Blake Buchanan. 3 of 5 from the line. He had 6 boards, 11 points, 1 assist, no turnovers. And he was kind of back to his old self, flying around a little bit, right? He had some boards where he swooped in from the heavens to grab them, boxed out well. He could have had probably 15 points. He missed a couple pretty easy bunnies right around the rim, including an alley-oop. But I really noticed him, and I thought it'd been 2 or 3 games since I'd seen that from him. So I don't know if you agree, but
he'd really fallen off. This is the other thing that every fan sitting at home does. Like I watched him miss the bunny, and I'm like, you're standing right by the rim, and you're 6'10", and nobody's guarding you. Just put it in the hoop.
Yeah, just dunk it, man.
it was a good night for him. Good for him to rebound a little bit. Honestly, you got offense out of Killian Torre. He made 2 threes. He had 12 points. Like, he was just more active, and he was more, I don't know, he made a couple shots, and you really feel the difference when he's scoring. And he hadn't been scoring pretty much for the entire run of conference play here.
He made 2 threes. Went 0 for 2 from the line, which is rare. He usually makes those. Finished with 12 points, 5 of 9. He attacked the hoop, Keeney. He had a couple, I think 2 misses from 2 that were kind of like 10-foot, bank shots or runners almost, but were really, really good looks that I want him taking. You want him getting downhill to the basket and putting up some of those shots. So
he made some of those hustle plays that you talked about too, that just, you could really, there was one, I think, off like a miss where UCF didn't really gather possession, and then he dove on the floor, tipped it out, and I think that possession ended in a 3. Like, when he's scoring, he does. I'm not saying that he doesn't do this when he's not scoring, but like, it's almost like he's got more confidence. Like, I can go ahead and take more chances here, especially on the defensive end, because I'm playing well. I know I'm going to be in the game no matter what. So he was just kind of all over the place. And gosh, if he can shoot 33% from 3, if he makes 1 out of every 3s he takes, because he's going to be wide open, that I think you can live with that.
Yeah, I agree. He's got to make 33%. He also had 5 boards. He had a really good offensive rebound. Just played a nice game. So he really stood out to me. The other one was Dom Plata. We got to talk about Big Dom, Big Schnitzel. I think our manager and boss, Supreme Overlord, Jake Bregg calls him. 12 minutes, which is probably a little bit more than we've seen him play.
He chipped in a little bit in garbage time too. So
he
like
did,
in the actual flow of the game, he played about 10 minutes and
had 6 points early on before garbage time, 8 total, had an assist, but some pretty deft finishes around the rim. And they were having him kind of slip screens. Keeney, there was even a play where he took the ball basically from the elbow and dribbled it right all the way to the rim for a layup. Like, really nice finish. There's also a few really good passes he caught from Lipsy, like in very tight windows and finish. He's got good hands. Like, he can score. He's probably more of a scorer than I maybe originally thought. So loved seeing him get involved, right? You can't put him out there and have him not score, have him not get the ball. Otherwise, teams just won't guard him. And I thought he was a really big part of the offense tonight for that main chunk he was in early in the game. And I kind of took me by surprise. So that kind of ties into what I wanted to talk about. A couple adjustments that I saw, and I don't know, Keeney, I'm curious what you saw. There's smarter basketball minds than me, certainly, but
I'll tell you, a lot of what I saw was reading Pete the Cat books and glancing over at the screen, because this was a 6:00 game, not an 8:00 game, so it wasn't bedtime yet. So doing a lot of book reading and a lot of getting climbed on and playing with the 3-year-old.
Of course, as dads do. A little bit different style defensively, Keeney. We went under quite a few screens. We did not double nearly as much. We did not rush at the top of the paint. We played that pretty well straight up. They did get some buckets, driving to the hoop 1-on-1 and kind of shooting like a 10-foot jumper. But I think if you're TJ, you'll live with that. Like, in general, those aren't terrific shots, and you've got a good chance to get an offense or get a defensive rebound there. So I think they changed some of the doubling a little bit. They did double on the baseline, but they did it less. And when they did, it was effective. They forced quite a few turnovers, several travels with someone trying to split that double team. And I thought at times, Keeney, I could not tell what defense they were playing. It looked like a 1-3-1, because early on in that game, really the only offense that they had, and UCF only scored 57 points, Keeney, so they didn't have much, was kind of some not even backdoor cuts. Guys are just open on the block, and they were able to make that pass and get an easy layup. They could have had more. Jefferson made a really great block on one of those. But it looked to me, right, Keeney, that's something you can see in a 1-3-1 where you've only got that one guy back. You can kind of sneak into that other block. I'm just not really used to seeing that from them. They trapped less. To me, it was almost like a mix match between some sort of a soft zone and their normal man-to-man with the trap that was certainly less frequent. So I don't know exactly. I can't describe it exactly, but it was definitely a different look, and I don't think UCF was ready for it. And I think that was TJ, just in an effort to say we've got to try something different than what we've been doing. It's gotten a little bit too predictable. So I really enjoyed that. Offensively, Keeney, way more ball movement, much more ball movement. I think what teams have been doing to us defensively, in my opinion, Keen Dog, is just packing the paint, putting five bodies in. So when Jefferson catches the ball in the lane, it's where his turnovers have been coming from. As soon as he puts that ball on the ground, there's 3 defenders around him. And they weren't, I don't know if they didn't trust our shooters or if we weren't finding them. I also noticed, and I think this ties into the offense, a lot of times Keeney 5 guys on the perimeter. I noticed that frequently this evening, like very well spread out, much better ball movement. Because there was more room in the paint, Keeney, we're actually slipping a lot of screens. And I was impressed with just how many points in the paint they got. That's one thing I've noticed that's dropped. The 2-man game, the points in the paint, the back and forth that we'd seen between Buchanan and Jefferson. Keeney, we had 42 points in the paint tonight. That's a stat that we've kind of dominated all season. And it just felt like we hadn't gotten scoring there recently. I'm going to go pull up the points in the paint from the last couple of games to see if that backs my salient point up there. But to me, Keeney, it looked like if you're going to pack the paint, we're going to spread it out. We're going to have, to do that, you've got to have Torrey making shots. That certainly helps. You've got to have Lipsy make a 3, which he did. You've got to have Bateman make a 3, right? So you got to have some outside shooting to go along with it.
Well, when you're whipping the ball around on the perimeter, that gives you Momcilovic, pump fake, defender goes out of the way. He takes one dribble to his left and he's wide open. And he's shooting the ball so well right now. It's like a legitimate surprise when he misses.
Correct. Yep. Let me find points. But no, so I think they had 26. So they scored 70 against Cincinnati. Keeney only 26 in the paint. It's not a great number. Against Kansas, 30 points in the paint. So
points in the paint, much more points off turnovers, just everything that you need to do was working tonight.
Yeah, and they dominated the box score. If you go look at it, other than blocks, right? We actually performed extremely well. So I give them credit. I would say that's the most encouraging thing. If they would have come out, Keeney, and looked like they did against Oklahoma State, which is, it's good enough to win, but really didn't look super inspiring, I'd probably be a little nervous. That's how I felt after Oklahoma State, but they didn't. They played well in all of the areas that they needed to. The box score reflects that. And
it's funny you should mention Oklahoma State. Maybe we project forward here and take a look at Oklahoma State on Saturday. We're going to Stillwater. We just played them at home a couple weeks ago. We didn't play great, but we won the game. It was mostly comfortable. But do you feel like what you saw tonight we can take on the road? Can we get off to a good start in a road game against an Oklahoma State team that I really can't figure them out? Their metrics aren't very good. Their strength of schedule is not very good, but I think they're a pretty good team.
I want to say that they're pretty good. I agree. The metrics don't really back it up. They don't have a tremendous home court atmosphere. It can sometimes be weird to play there, but
historic Gallagher Arena.
That's right. It all depends on the fan support, which recently has not been very good. I think they have 2 extremely good players, and I'm really not sure on the rest of that roster. So, also, Keeney, when we played them in Hilton, we kind of farted around in that game. The reason it was a game was, in my opinion, largely on the Cyclones. We missed a lot of really easy looks at the hoop. I mean, at least 10 layups in that game. So I think they match up well. It should be a game that they can win. I don't know what the line's going to be. I would guess probably between 8 and 10 points.
Yeah. It'll be pretty significant for Iowa State as the favorite.
Think road games in the Big 12 are going to be tough, but with the way that they played, it's pretty clear to me that they're refocused. I like that it was a Tuesday game this week, so they should have a little time off. It's a game that I think the message from TJ is clear, right? Like, we're still got things that we're working on, but we can make some hay here over the next month. So, let's just keep playing with better effort and keep working through it. And I think the ball movement tonight, the rebounding, shows that message must have been received.
So after last week, we lost twice. Were you wavering at all on like this team's just not as good as I thought they were? Personally, I wasn't. I'm not worried. You're not going to win every road game. Cincinnati played really well against us. It happens. And then you see them come out and win by 30 in their next game. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
You got smacked around a little bit. It's clear that the message got through and they played much better in their next game.
No, I wasn't super concerned. I mean, watching those games, right? Like there are times against both Kansas and Cincinnati where it felt like anything that they threw up went in. Like, that shot went in. That guy made that shot. Okay. And that's what I honestly, to me, my attitude is more tip your cap. Like Iowa State got outworked and those teams made shots, just buckets of them. So my one lingering concern that I don't think that can be solved is I'm not sure I like how we match up with some of these super athletic teams. I think that's the common denominator. If you ask, how is Kansas similar to Cincinnati? Good size in the paint, especially with Cincinnati, but really big guards, big wings, very physical. I don't know, right? Like that Illinois team we lost to in the Sweet 16 fit that description really well. Fast, physical. I think a team like Purdue fits much more to our style, where we can be the bigger, more physical team. And in the Big 12, that's just the issue that I wanted to talk about going on the road is you're going to play a lot of teams like that, right? Everybody's big and physical.
Yeah, you worry about like the physical toll it's going to take on Taman, who has been injured pretty much every year of his career. You're just kind of trying to keep him healthy as long as you can and hope you get through March and April with him.
And you're relying on two freshmen now, and Bateman and Torrey, right? Guys that have not played this grind of a schedule before. So Don Nelson, same thing, transferred from bigger league, and he's still a little banged up. So that's my only concern is I do think the Big 12 slate's going to be a grind. So
it will become one in February. I got to tell you, a little bit of a gripe I got is this 16-team conference. Imagine being a student, and I'm sure that hopefully there's a couple students that listen to this. You know, we want the pod to be out there on campus, but man, how excited would you be about UCF coming into Hilton as a student? You're like, I got to get to that game.
Unless you're like a big time ball knower and know a little bit about him, or just a fanatic, like, yeah, it's not going to draw your interest. That's the one thing I missed about the round robin is,
you don't get Texas and Texas Tech and Baylor and West Virginia, and all 10 teams are good. So you're going to have you're going to lose a couple to winter break, but you get 6 awesome Big 12 home games every year, pretty much guaranteed. You're not getting that now.
You got to know the players better. You knew you were going to get to yell at Markel Brown when he came to Hilton, or you're going to get to yell at Ryan Spangler when they came to Hilton. Right now, it's just different. So
that's looking at the home schedule, and it's like, yeah, you get Kansas at home, you get Houston at home, but I don't know. How fired up are you for Kansas State when they suck? There's just not as many fun home games that you get to look forward to.
I think you gotta look at what do you want to accomplish this season. Winning a regular season Big 12 title would be great. We haven't done it since early 2000s. Keeney, last year's record should have been good enough to win the Big 12, and it wasn't. You know why? Because Houston just decided to not lose any league games. Right. At this point, is Arizona going to decide to lose any? If they are, it's probably not going to be more than 2 or 3. So, I mean, with a team like that in this league, that's not even considering Houston. It's just so freaking hard to do that. That if you're asking me, I can tell you, I would rather this team play well and build as good a resume for March as they can, and hopefully because that's the one thing that we still haven't achieved, other than the regular season title, right? I think most fans would probably take an Elite 8 or Final Four, or Final Four for sure, maybe even an Elite 8 over, winning that regular season title. And I know that's a great accomplishment. We've won enough tournament titles, right? You've been in that conversation before. What you haven't done is gotten past the Sweet 16 in quite a while. So I think I would trade a March run in a team that's, playing well and healthy by the end of the year. I just don't know. Keeney, you could win every game from here on out and still not win the league because Arizona goes legit undefeated. Like that is possible, unfortunately.
Arizona's favored in every game they're going to play except for February 21st at Houston. You look at Houston, they are this Ken Palm, they're projected a 1-point underdog against BYU. Our game's a toss-up, and then they play at Allen Fieldhouse, and that's a toss-up. And they have won those toss-up games the last couple of years. So it's just the league's too spread out. You don't get the double round robin. You don't get those 2 guaranteed games against Arizona. You don't get those 2 guaranteed games against Houston. It's just
that's the biggest problem is if you lose to Arizona, you can't get them back.
Right? Exactly.
Like you're going to depend on a Colorado or somebody else upsetting them, and it might happen, it might not. So it's not like back in the day. There's one year I think a Fred team went like 12-6 and could have won the Big 12 had they not lost a random road game at Texas Tech when they were bad. But 12-6 is not winning this league right now, right? It's just not.
There's also just too many teams at the bottom of the league that aren't good enough to compete with the very top. Like I don't think I've ever seen a clearer divide in the 6th best team, whoever that might be in the standings. It might be Kansas or Texas Tech or something. And then there's just this massive drop off until the 7th best team.
You're going to need the West Virginias, Colorados, Arizona States, UCF for that matters of the world to beat some of the teams above you, right? And they might, but it does feel like there's more of a cliff. So I hope this doesn't sound defeatist to the listeners. Like we want to win a Big 12 regular season title, but you're going to take 4 or 5 losses in Big 12 play unless you just have a phenomenal season. I would rather be in better shape come March. Was this team last year, Keeney? Was not. They were crazy hurt going into the tournament. Like couldn't be more banged up. So I'm hoping that's what we can avoid. And I think here's the nice thing. The league's going to be good. You're going to play good teams, but our non-conference, Keeney, was literally perfect. You won all of those games. And as dumb as that sounds, that buys you a lot of weight in March, as we've learned way more than what your conference slate does. So if they can finish, what does they play? 20 league games, 15 and 5,
18. You got 18. So you get that theoretical trump card on Purdue. You won at their building. You got a couple other nice neutral court wins in the non-conference. Iowa, metrics wise, is looking a tournament really team. Good.
Yep. You're going to be, because what were they 14-0 in the non-conference? 13-0?
13. Yep.
13. So if you go, you lose 5
12-6, 13-5.
13-5, right? You're going to be 26-5.
Yeah. You're a top in the tournament with that.
You are correct. You are a 1-2-3 seed. And that's what you want to be. That gets you good home court preference. An easy draw. There's a pretty big drop off after 1 and 2. Obviously, have the easiest, but 4 and 5, it's so much harder to make the Final Four. So I think all, and by the way, all their goals are still in front of them. They went on the road in Arizona. Arizona picks up a few losses. It's all right there. But for me, I want to see them, Keeney, make some hay with this stretch. I actually think Saturday's game is really important. It's a game they can win, and it would be huge for their confidence going forward. And I think it would bode well for how they're going to play over the next month, where they've got some very winnable games. So
yeah, you don't want to throw the must-win label on it, but it's a game that you really would like to win it. So
should we hit football for a bit?
Yeah, there was one football thing that you had. I wasn't even aware that this happened, but I do want to let you talk about it. So floor is yours.
Yeah, if you have time, go out to Twitter and find the Cycast. I think John Walters tweeted about it. It was probably like 10 days ago. Jesse Bobbit, who is the defensive coordinator, sat down with Walters in the facility for like 20 minutes and talked a lot about defensive philosophy, recruitment, covered a lot of really good things. Awesome listen. Like I could listen to that guy talk football for a long time. He talked a lot about Rodgers' mentality. We're kind of at this awkward phase, right? Where if you go to their Twitter, Iowa State footballs, they basically just put out who the roster is, which is kind of hilarious. I've never seen us do something like this, Keeney, but it's every position player in that group and the coach.
Well, you have to, because
you have no choice.
Everybody's new now. I think we've got like 60 new scholarship players this year.
So like they're starting to, they kind of got the players established. The players have been doing a nice job, in my opinion, of talking about the program and social media, but the next will be the coaches, like getting more access, more exposure. If you're wondering, like, why haven't they done that now? I do not blame them. The portal is still open. They've got 2 or 3 open roster spots. Think about all the work, Keeney, to get guys to campus. You're going to have maybe some early enrollees. You've got some guys that have graduated and transferred already and are on campus because school just started here today. So they have an immense amount of crap going on at the moment. So I don't blame them for not maybe talking a little bit more publicly about, here's more about us. But Bobbit kind of shared some of that. Number one thing I found interesting is hearing them talk. I mean, it's Matt Campbell 2.0, Keeney. Like, not like Jimmy Rogers is about the same things that Matt was, and that is player development. He's
process.
He's a player coach.
Did he say the process trademark?
Did not say the process. Talked a lot about hard work, being gritty. But in terms of like what Jimmy cares about, it's the players. He is very, very, very much so a player's coach. Keeney, I think that's evident with how many guys not just transferred from Washington State, but guys that followed him from SDSU to Washington State to Iowa State. He is basically his line was, look, we care a ton about their development, about them as people. That's kind of our number one, which we heard a lot from the Campbell staff. Also, sounds like they've been really brutally honest with players when they came. I think some of that was with their training players. He talked about they've had guys on visits, and on the visit basically said, yeah, this is not going to work.
That's definitely true with some of the guys that transferred out. We just said, hey, we don't have a spot for you.
Yep. They flat out said, Dick, you got to really want to be here, was his line. And if you don't, we're not going to try to do square peg round hole. Like, you should go do something that's better fit for you, whether that's culture. I think a lot of it is Ames. They know what Ames is like. It's not a big destination. That's one thing that you hear about transfers quite a bit, right? Like, you bring somebody into Podunk town and all they want is the big city. They'd rather be at Miami or somewhere where they can go to nightclubs. And that's not what he talked about, but he really emphasized fit. Which makes me glad. The other thing that I thought was really interesting is they talked a lot about making it easy for the players. So Keeney talking about defense, basically saying we don't fill their heads up with tendencies, statistics. We give them defense we can run. We do some scouting, and we give them decisions they can make and break down on the field. But he said it's our job as coaches and analysts and everybody else to build a game plan that factors that in, and to maybe give them some of that. But he said, we do not fill their heads with, this receiver runs this route 70% of the time. He said, we don't want our players to be thinking. We want them to just react and play hard. And I'm not saying that Campbell's defense was overly complicated, but I thought it was really interesting. He was very upfront about that. Like, we give them the freedom, and we just want them to focus on playing downhill and being mean and aggressive, not having to sit there and overanalyze everything. So I thought that was because their defenses have been very good, Keeney. So I was curious as to what makes them so good. So that was really interesting. The last thing I really liked was this staff has a lot more geographic ties, Keeney, than I thought. We've talked on the show a lot about transfers they brought in from other schools, but I think Bobbit's a Chicago guy from Illinois. If you go back to his Twitter, they recruited a lot of Illinois kids when he was at South Dakota State. You've got a big pull from South Dakota, North Dakota. They've got an assistant who is from Minnesota and coached in that state. And then they've got some kind of spread out influence in the South there in Arizona, obviously, but a lot of Midwest ties. And he talked about that a lot.
At Iowa State, yeah. I guess maybe yes. I'd love to talk to Bobbit about the Bears then. Maybe he's got some thoughts on what happened.
I think he's a Bears fan. He even said he's got a little Chicago accent, Keeney. So I thought you'd like that.
Cubs are a White Sox guy. I don't know. Jesse, come on the pod. Let's talk it out. Let's find out.
Care to discuss? No, it was really, really good. He did say that, we're going to start sharing more about us and the staff here now that everybody's on campus. And it was a great interview, like very, very personable. And he kind of shared some details about some of the assistants and about Rogers himself too. So go get a listen to it.
Yeah, that's a good recommendation too. Appreciate that. I'll go and listen to that.
Promoting another podcast on our podcast is always.
By the way, Williams and Bloom, and
that's right. Yeah. Go ahead. Yep.
Bigger than 12 on the Iowa Everywhere Network. And no, I didn't know that happened. Look, Matt, this is going to be a different kind of offseason for us on the football front, and in a way, it's actually kind of exciting. You hate to see all the guys that you knew for so long leave, but we're doing a full factory reset on the program. Right. And we actually, we can take this summer to get to know who our new guys are. Last few ones have been, frankly, pretty boring. There's just not a lot going on. This year, there's everything going on.
Yeah, and there's competition competition at every spot, basically.
Right.
Yep.
We're gonna get a schedule tomorrow too. Did you see that?
Which will be fun. I did not know
Schedule
that.
release.
That's fun. I know
Tomorrow.
Big 12 announced they're moving the title game to Friday night, which I actually kind of love. You'll probably be the biggest game that night and draw more eyeballs.
It will. I don't know how much I love it, but it'll be the biggest draw on Friday night. No problem.
I don't mind that it's different, right? I think you got to be unafraid to do that if you're the Big 12. So I it was unexpected. I'll say I was surprised to see that announcement, but
I guess I have no problem with us giving it a shot. If it doesn't work, then I'm sure you can always talk to ESPN and say, hey, we want to be at 11 on Saturday again. Like, what are they going to replace you with? The American? They'll put the Big 12 back there if they want it.
Yeah, no question. Try it for a few years. See what the ratings look like. If there's good teams in it, Friday night, yeah, everyone will watch it. Maybe the WWE is going to be wrapped up in it, and that's why, right? With all the crazy WWE stuff we have going on. So, no, man, that's it on football. I don't have to belabor it too much more. Just for basketball, Keeney, I think grateful for something positive happening, right? With the ladies losing 5 straight and rapidly heading towards being out of the top 25. And the Niners getting shellacked by Sam Darnold. That was very unpleasant. Feels good that we had something positive happen.
Yeah, I needed it. Bears, it just...
Yeah, I didn't want to mention it. Wasn't going to bring it up.
No, it's okay. Look, I mean, the team just completely overperformed what anybody thought we were going to be,
Yeah, it was a good friend.
I'm walking out of this year with a coach that I feel confident in and a quarterback that I feel confident in.
There's a guy I always see drop a lot of mornings dropping off his kids at school, and he's been decked out in Bear stuff. Still had it on today, and I asked him how he was feeling. He said, honestly, great. I did not expect to make the playoffs, let alone win a playoff game. So the same thing. I feel super confident in our coach, and got to work on the defense maybe a little bit, Keeney.
A lot. The defense is a lot of work.
Yeah.
They desperately need pass rushers. First and foremost, they need somebody that can go get the quarterback. So I don't know. We'll see what that looks like.
Last thing,
a lot of Bears fans want to trade for Max Crosby. I don't know if I love the cost of that, but they need somebody that goes and gets the quarterback.
Who is your remaining rooting interest for in the playoffs? I hate that we eliminated the Bills on some bullshit pass interferences just to hand the ball to Jarrett Stidham.
I don't have a rooting interest at this point.
Denver's not. I'll say, go on the record. Denver's not going to make the Super Bowl, folks. Drake May, no, it won't happen. Fun season. Bo Nix get healthy. Sean Payton, I hate you, so I cannot wait to watch them lose. That's my rooting interest, honestly, is against Sean Payton.
Maybe for the draft class, I got to make sure that Drake May doesn't win a Super Bowl. But like, even if he does, I can just say, wow, look at that playoff run. You played 2 home games against crap teams, and then Jared Stidham and Sam Darnold in the Super Bowl. It's like, never been a more fraudulent run than that.
As a Vikings fan, I should probably be cheering for the Rams because technically we could have run it back with Sam Darnold. But again, they played a horribly banged up Niners team, right? That was just a mash unit. So either one of those teams is going to be a cool story, right? Either Matthew Stafford trying to turn back time and win another one for McVay, or the number 1 pick that was thrown away and left for dead got recycled by Kevin O'Connell and won a Super Bowl. Like I'm okay with either of those storylines. I love Drake May. I love everything with his wife and Bake Miss. I'm just not sure I'm ready for New England to be good again. That doesn't feel like it should be possible.
They don't deserve it. They don't. Matt, I regret to inform you that Iowa is going to beat Rutgers.
Great win for them over a really dynamic and powerful 9-9 Rutgers team.
You know what? I'll say it. That might be the signature win of the McCollum era, right?
Could be. Hassle. Okay. Anything else?
No, that's all I got, Matt. Let's call it a pod and go win a road game. And hey, we'll have stuff to talk about next week. More basketball and football schedule.
We'll have plenty and maybe some more playoffs to cover. And we're maybe working on a sponsor. Crazy as that sounds. So
that sounds great to me. Trust me.
Keep you informed.
All right. Sounds good.